I think people need to go see P3's production of Wounded because they haven't experienced something so electric in a long time. This play is going to shake them to the core. It is going to make them relive things and think about things they haven't thought about in a long time. It's going to make them question things they've done, things they were thinking about doing. And I think it's really going to move them as a human being. And I think it's important. I think the topics that we are including in this play are human and important.
Wounded via P3 production is a must-see. You're going to see two artists that are on purpose and doing what they were put on this planet to do, with a piece that is rife with comedy and tragedy it's what I was put on this planet to do, as far as experiencing all the feels. And you're going to see two artists at the top of their game throwing down and telling a story unlike it's been told before.
I wanted to be a part of this play, first off, because my talented friend Craig Taggart suggested me for it. He called me and he said he read the script and he could think of no one else to play the role. I was blown away. And I have such respect and regard for him as an actor and an artist that I didn't even need to think about it. I didn't even need to read the script. I was in at that moment. Luckily, after reading the incredible script by Jiggs Burgess, it's phenomenal, and it's so well written that it's just, I can already see it in my head, and the characters are so real and honest and wounded that I just can't wait to play a part like this.
I am in love with this playwright style. I honestly feel as if, Jiggs Burgess and I, the playwright, have never met, but I feel as if he has written something that comes from my soul, in that I feel such a connection to Carrol, in the fact that the way Jiggs has crafted this character is that he's rife with witticisms, and there's an innate poignancy to him. The words that come out of his mouth are so delicious to say because it's rooted in Southern humor, and that's something that I've always had an affinity for based on having grown up in Missouri. My grandmother would say we're not Southern, we're country, but it's been a writing style that I've always had held very close to my heart, and Jiggs is so talented with it that he makes the work of an actor quite easy simply by speaking the words that are on paper. My character, Carrol, goes through quite the arc in Wounded, in that at the beginning of this chapter of the story, he is a nervous wreck. He is expecting company, somebody who he has not seen in years, who he's very, very excited to see. And we go on quite the journey of his nervousness and then settling into the pain and the pain that comes from the honesty of his experience with his guest that comes to visit, and the terms of his own life, and his coming to terms with the failed purpose that has been his existence, and unrealized dreams that he's experienced. So it's quite the ride of nervousness and being frazzled, and how he overcompensates that, and ultimately being honest with both himself and a loved one.
My character in the play Wounded is Robert. Everybody in this play has been wounded, and badly, pretty badly, in some way, emotionally, physically, spiritually. And I think both characters, and mine in particular, is grasping for some sort of redemption, He needs to be forgiven. He needs to forgive. The themes in Wounded, they are the themes, once you've seen this powerful play, that we all have and suffer from and try to overcome every day of our lives. Our past, the parts of our past that haunt us, the parts of our past that still control the puppet strings of how we are the rest of our lives. And for my character, I'm trying to cut those strings. I'm trying to get over addiction that has really shaped my life. And I'm looking for some sort of salvation that I don't know comes.
The layering of the themes of Wounded, I mean, even just looking at it from the standpoint of why is that the title? Wounded, in the fact that it speaks to the experience of humanity, in that how do we rebound from being hurt? And what happens when we're hurt? How do we process that? It reminds me a lot of the Langston Hughes poem of A Dream Deferred. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? Does it fester? And there's a lot of components in Carrol and in Robert, who's also in the other character in the play, of what wounded looks like, what wounded is, and how does one overcome being hurt.
What I'm looking forward to performing this particular play live at the Fringe Festival is I'm sure what is going to be some deafening silence in the audience. This play, I've never read anything so powerful, really. And it's staggering. And I think that people are going to connect with it, and they are going to be processing things in their own lives while they're sitting there that they haven't thought about in a long time. And so that's what I'm looking most forward to. I'm looking forward to the reaction, the way that we are going to be able to move these people. We're going to make them laugh, and we're going to make them long, and we're going to make them hurt a little, and we're going to make them leave changed. That's what I'm looking forward to. I want them walking out a little different person.
I am most looking forward to, when performing Wounded live on stage, is feeling that connection with number one, I'm looking forward to throwing down with Shaw Jones. He is one of my favorite actors. I am thrilled beyond measure that he is doing this with me. And the other thing that I love as an actor, as I've spoken to, as far as the difference between film and television, is I was born to be on stage. I know that is my purpose. And having that exchange and that relationship with an audience for an hour and a half, telling this story, knowing that they've got a connection to this character just like I've got a connection to this character, and that we'll all walk away with it, learning something a little bit about ourselves. I do have a history with Shaw Jones, my co-star in Wounded, in that we first met about a decade ago at the Richard Lawson Studios. So we've studied acting together. So what's really cool about this particular project as we get ready to jump in is that he and I already have a chemistry and a shorthand of working with one another. I trust him implicitly. I know that the work that he's going to bring to the table is going to impinge me. I know that I can volley back to him and have that exchange that otherwise would take a little bit of getting to know you with a total stranger, and we actually can bring the history that is inherent between Carrol and Robert through Craig and Shaw. So I'm really excited about that, and I cannot wait to play with. He's brilliant, and I can't wait for everybody to see how just phenomenal he is. And selfishly, I can't wait to play.
I think what will surprise people about this play is the depth that it goes to. It starts out, it's light. I don't think they understand the cliff that they're driving towards. And it's going to be a great moment when the car goes over.
I think audiences will be surprised with Wounded at its unapologetic honesty. It peels away throughout the course of the story, some really, really dark, some really, really painful experiences that this individual, that Carrol, has gone through. Because as with great Southern writing, it's all the feels. It's laugh out loud, and then on a dime, you're on the verge of crying your heart out, because funny people oftentimes are the deepest wounded. And it's inherent in the writing, but I think people will be really surprised with just how honest the character ultimately becomes regarding his experience and how raw that is. What I would like to say to Jiggs Burgess, the playwright, is thank you for this opportunity, for speaking such specificity to this character of Carrol, because something that I have learned in the evolution of my artistry is that the more specific one can be with their storytelling, the more universal it becomes. And the specificity in which Carrol is written lands on me in that I have, over the course of the last 40 some odd years that I've been doing this, I know who this man is, and it's something that I literally was put on this earth to do. And I cannot wait to do it. And I thank you for the chance, Jiggs.
People should go to, they must go see Craig and Shaw play these parts. Is one of the reasons they must. And they should, because I think it's going to, once again, to me, the biggest thing about theater is that it makes you feel something. And I think whether or not you like what it makes you feel, and I think that this show will make you feel, and it will make you want to discuss things afterwards. And so for that reason, I think people should go see it. I personally think the writing's good, but I would. I don't always think that about my writing, though. But I think that there are things in the script that are just well done. And with those actors, I don't think people want to miss that. I think it's something that people are going to talk about. If we get it right, it's going to be legendary, iconic, whatever you want to say. Hi, I'm Jiggs Burgess. I'm the author of Wounded. And if you want to know more about this play, just keep listening. Oh gosh, Wounded's a twisted little tale. It came to me as I was sitting on my back porch watching my hummingbirds, and you'll see how that's that's definitely where it comes from when you see the play. It's a tale that I've been obsessed in the last few years with justice and revenge. And when is it justice and when is it revenge? And this doesn't deal with the justice part. This is really about revenge. But I had this, and I had that voice of the lead character, and I knew that he had been wounded, and I knew he was an incredibly wounded character. But I also felt, knew he was funny, and that he would amuse people. But he wouldn't leave me alone till I wrote him, number one. And It just turned out that this obsession of mine with justice and revenge fits in with that character really well. Um, and once again, I don't want to go too far into that. Maybe saying it's about revenge is actually too far, because the first probably third of the play, you're just going to love him. You're just gonna, he's gonna be, I think, somebody you want to know. And the last third, I think you're gonna understand just how damaged this guy is and how dark he can be. So, well, it's about Carrol. Carrol is he is a mediocre writer at best. He's had three books published. One was made into a movie. It was the worst movie, the only movie that Meryl Streep ever did that got bad reviews, according to him. And but he's been forced to move back to his hometown to take care of his mother. He promised his father before he died that he would do this, even though he has brothers that could do some of this. He's promised that he would. And in doing that, it just has dredged up a lot of pain for him over the years, until we get to this point where this friend comes to visit, and I say friend loosely, but the friend dredges up more childhood, junior high school pain for him, and it's I think it's he had a revenge fantasy, and he sees the opening to actually make that fantasy real. Yeah, I think that theme is that we're all damaged, and some of us are more damaged than others, and hide it until we can't anymore. I think that's the major theme for that show. But I've got incredible actors. It's a two-hander, and just once again, just incredible actors. I don't know how I've gotten so lucky. Craig Taggart has been with this show from the earliest drafts as a reader. He just came in with the right voice, the right attitude. I didn't think I'd be ever be able to find anybody that was exactly what I wanted for this part. And this actor can do it. He's just incredible in this role. It's like I had written it for him, but I had not. And then Shaw, who plays Robert, the second character, he was a friend of Craig's, who we were auditioning, and Craig said, "Well, I've got this person who'd like to." And from that first tape, it was just amazing. And so the two of them together are going to blow this show out of the water. Once we get it on stage and get it all polished up. If the show doesn't do well, it's not because of them. It's the script, because they're just incredible. I think they're going to be surprised with their change of feeling for Carrol. I think they're going to be surprised with what he's made of. Without kind of going any further, I think some of the things he brings up will surprise. Now, I also think that we have to warn people. There's a lot of sexual kind of violence that he talks about. So that's, I'm hoping that we get that warning out so that it doesn't surprise people in that way, and that's not a good thing. But I think they're going to be surprised by the fact that they're going to go home and they're going to feel conflicted by these characters. Who's right, who's wrong, and I don't think there is an answer to that. From my point of view, the people, actors and technicians and writers and theater people in general should get involved with P3, because it's an authentic production company. They care about the writing, they care about the acting, they care about the technical aspects. From my point of view, from from what I have, and they're honest, and that's sometimes hard to find in this business. And John is just incredibly supportive. And I think I'm not the only one he's supportive to. I think he's just one of those people who is incredibly supportive and creative, and wants things done in a very honest and authentic way. And I think that that's a must. So should have, but should. But I think people need to get involved with P3 for that reason, whether it's a volunteer or as an actor, or technician, director. Theater companies like P3, the small theater companies like John has, is they need people's donations, and they need money to they produce people that wouldn't get produced, say the Manhattan Theater Club, or any of the big LA or Chicago or New York producers. It probably wouldn't touch me because I'm not known. And with John, he saw a script that he liked, he thought would work, and he kind of fell in love with. And he went with it. And small theater companies can do that. And it's important that we have that, because how does a writer or an actor or a director get known if they don't have a company like P3 to start with, to help them, to nudge them along and to do their work. And that's why people should get involved and donate and do what they can for companies like P3. It's incredibly important to our cultural life in this country. Our cultural life is kind of falling apart right now, and it needs all the help it can get. People should go to, they must go see Craig and Shaw play these parts. Is one of the reasons they must. And they should, because I think it's going to, once again, to me, the biggest thing about theater is that it makes you feel something. And I think whether or not you like what it makes you feel, and I think that this show will make you feel, and it will make you want to discuss things afterwards. And so for that reason, I think people should go see it. I personally think the writing's good, but I would. I don't always think that about my writing, though. But I think that there are things in the script that are just well done. And with those actors, I don't think people want to miss that. I think it's something that people are going to talk about. If we get it right, it's going to be legendary, iconic, whatever you want to say.
Hi, I'm Shaw Jones. I will be playing Robert in the P3 Theater Company production of Wounded. You've got to come see this play. Be ready to be moved. I'll see you at the theater.
Hey, I am Craig Taggart. I am starring as Carrol in the upcoming production of Wounded, produced by P3 Productions. You do not want to miss this. It's going to be incredible.
Hi, I'm Jiggs Burgess. I am the playwright of Wounded. And I beg you to come see this show, because you're going to see some performances that are going to blow you out of the water. So come see us. See you at the theater.